guys, I am Rita. In today's episode, I will guide you through QuickBooks accounting software. So this is QuickBooks accounting software tutorial. The best way to go through this tutorial would be if I will take on or represent some sort of real life business. And today I have chosen a jewelry business. So first things first, let's register and set up my business on QuickBooks accounting software. Okay, let's register on QuickBooks. Let's try for free. I have 30-day trial, so I need to provide details. So my name, company name, phone number, email, and also strong password. Let's fill in details. So now I need to select either I will be self-employed business or a business like limited company, partnership, maybe charity business, and etc. So I'm a business and I need to select the type of my business. So in my case, I will be limited company, but if you are a partnership, charity, society or club or other, select one of the drop-down list options provided and click on next. From here, select your company where it is located, in which country. In my case, I am located in UK and my currency is pounds. So from drop-down list, you can select different currencies if you wish to. Click on next. Here, I need to leave an options which apply to my business. In my case, I'm not VAT registered business, but if you are, leave it ticked. And also you can see on right hand side that currently it suggests that my QuickBooks plan would be large if I would want to use these options. So in my case, I'm not VAT registered business at the moment, and also I don't want to trade in different currencies, so I'm trading only in pound sterling. But if you want to trade in different currencies, leave it ticked. And also if you are trading as part of construction industry scheme, then you need to select this option, but in that case you will need to go for a large plan, like package called large. So if I deselect this one, I'm able to actually use a QuickBooks package called small. So I'm not VAT registered, I don't trade in different currencies other than pound sterling in my case, and I'm not part of construction industry scheme with my jewelry business. So once you have evaluated on options, click on next. Here I need to set up dates when my financial year have started. So in my case, my financial year started on 1st of June and it will finish on 31st of May. Okay, click next, and then I can select either I can add my bank details now, or I can skip a step and set up it later. I will set up my bank account, my current bank account. So my bank name will be Rita K Bank, called current, and from drop down list I can select a type of this account. Either it will be bank account, credit card, cash account, or maybe even internet payment account. So I have a bank account, so Rita K Bank is a bank account, and I will click complete registration. Okay, so now my account has been successfully set up. This is a pop-up message and I can start with my QuickBooks account. So I'm on my QuickBooks account. There is a message at the very top advising that I actually need to go to my email and verify my account. So going to my email, and I will click on verify my email. And I'm back to my QuickBooks account. So now we have registered on QuickBooks accounting software and I have set up my business as well. So let's get ready for today's working day. Okay. So, oh dear, okay. So there is my necklaces, there is my bracelets, there is my earrings. There is my information, my notepad. It looks a little bit messy. Likewise will be with an accounting software. We need to make sure that before I start to run my business by using ClearBooks accounting software, that I have actually enabled or unlocked sections what I will use for my business. Also, I want to little bit personalize, like adding logo if I need to change address, as well as amending chart of accounts. So how I can set up my business on ClearBooks accounting software, mainly making sure that I have enabled features. So let's look on next section, settings. But if you want to skip settings section, then you can go to description section below and skip to the section or chapter or part which you are interested in more to watch about this tutorial. Let's start with the settings, okay? And now let's go through settings section. So before we go to this settings section, when I hover above purchases, I have only two subsections. I cannot see purchase orders. Under sales, I can see invoices and of course unallocated receipts, but I cannot see quote section. So I would need to unlock those options or sections on settings. But before we go to this settings section, we need to cover a couple more sections. So if you hover above these three lines, you will be able to switch from your ClearBooks accounting environment to your payroll, as well to access community and look at preview section if you need to. On right hand side, there is option when you hover about that icon of a human being. There is a couple more settings: security, personal details, community posts if you would post anything like looking for a feedback or advice, and also we can log out from here. And next to it, like little house, that is my account, and I can invite more users, change subscriptions, and I can also reset account. So if you need to add more users, go through this section and you can invite user by clicking on this icon. Before you invite, you can actually look at option to view roles, and you can select what kind of permissions this particular person what you will invite, if it may be your employee, or maybe if you're contracting out, you want to give some access to maybe payroll person or your accountant. So a quite long list, and you can select which features you want to allow this person to access. Okay, so let's go to settings section. So settings section actually got three subsections. First one is organization. Here under this section, we are able to look at our details, change logo, amend tags if needed, and also API key if you need to provide that one. So looking at contact details, this is all about my company. So firstly, it's my name or business name, my type of organization, and I can also select an industry. So if you click on the drop-down list, there's lots of different industries provided. Select one which applies to you. So in my case, I will have a retailing, I would say. Retailing, PR, RRR, retailing that is not listed elsewhere. But as you can see, there's quite a long list. Definitely you will find an industry in which you are operating, okay? If I have company number, I can add it here. And also if I have information, I can provide when my business has started. I can select it there, okay? Contact details, can provide contact details here. If I have secondary phone number or even fax if I would use, I can add it there. Also, I can add my business address. So my address line, so I will add address details here. So okay, and trading address, if it's the same as registered address, it will fill automatically. If you have different trading address, deselect it and you can enter manually details of this trading address, okay? And of course, don't forget to click Save Changes. logo, I want to more personalize my invoices, what I would issue to customers. Then I will upload the logo. So let's select, I would select 10. Okay, and I will click Save Changes. So I have added logo as well. If I want, I can tick this box and delete it, or later I can change to different logo if I would have. Under tax section, if you are VAT registered business at a later time, you can come here and switch to a VAT scheme. And also you can add an employer tax reference, or if you're a sole trader, you can add UTR reference here as well. Okay, and there is API, all details about my business. Okay, so we covered organization. Under configure system, there is like features, invoice preferences, themes, like invoice theme, or most commonly known as invoice templates, and also payment methods. For example, if you want enable e-payment system. So let's start with, as ClearBooks call, toggle features, if I spelled correctly. Here, basically, I need to enable features or sections what I will use as part of my business. So there is a couple more sections on left hand side. We will cover one by one. So major features, expenses. Will my business use expense claims? And if it will use, I need to click on this button and turn it like on. Okay, yeah, I will use expenses. Also, I want to enable credit notes, because I may issue credit notes as well as suppliers might send credit notes to me, so definitely. And I have purchased some fixed assets, so definitely I want to keep track of my fixed assets. And if I want automatically depreciation to be posted at the end of month, I can enable auto depreciation as well. If I would use multi-currency, I would enable this, but I don't use multi-currencies. Stock products list. Yes, there are some stock or products what I want to actually track availability. Projects and time tracking can be enabled. So if your business works on multiple projects, maybe like event planning, or there's some building projects, then you can enable and track a time as well. Purchase orders. Yes, in my case, I will enable purchase orders, because I would issue purchase order to a supplier, so supplier can prepare my goods and deliver to me. So definitely purchase orders. Recurring invoices, bills and expenses as well. For example, I have monthly rent and phone bills. I'm better to set up recurring invoices instead of entering manually every month, even every week, in case if you have some kind of expenses that occur on a weekly basis. Okay, if you want to turn off recurring invoice notifications, yes, I don't want to receive messages every time when there is recurring invoices. Okay, recharge costs, not in my case, but if they apply to your business, you can enable recharge costs as well. Quotes, yes, I would issue sales quotes. They are not only quotes, there are also pro formas or proposals. So if you want to have a pro forma invoices sent out instead of quotes, you need to enable this as well. And if you want to use Go Cardless, you can enable as a feature. Okay, if you want to see a tips, you can enable. If you want to receive ClearBooks, like emails from ClearBooks, enable as well. I will disable it. Request accountant, do you want to be connected to ClearBooks partner accountant? You can actually enable it if you wish to. Any keyboard shortcuts, if you use shortcuts, you can enable as well. Company house autocomplete, for example, if you're submitting VAT, information from your account can be added there, or well, actually company's house has nothing to do with HMRC. Sorry, company's house, what I meant, that's like if company house holds information for a particular business, they will, as is mentioned here, then it will autocomplete like address details about that business. In my case, I will have manually adding information, fine, yeah. And also if you want use incl, you can also enable that one. Any features what you are unlocking or enabling, you do not need to save, system automatically updates. Next one, invoicing and expenses. So if you provide discounts, allow or enable, it's the same about settlement discounts. If you would provide, then you need to enable it. Project invoices, project invoice items. If you want to record payments directly from the unpaid invoice pages, then you can enable, otherwise just switch it off. Also, if you are not registered as a VAT business but you still want to record VAT on the expenses, then you can enable and you will be able to add VAT information there. Separate invoice draft numbering from separately from actual invoices, you can enable that one as well. And also tailored bill numbers. If you want to add bill numbers, that means supplier invoice numbers manually, then enable that feature. Expenses, select either you want to use expense claim forms or ad hoc payments. In my case, I will leave expense claim forms. And if I want to email, if I emailing invoices out, I want to also attach automatically PDFs, enable it here as well. Okay, VAT and bank import tools. So bank import tools are automatically enabled by system, but if you want disable, just click what you don't want to use. And about VAT, I'm actually not VAT registered business, and making tax digital for VAT submission don't apply for me, so I will enable in this case. Looking at the accounting section, this is what I need to select for my accounting purposes. So for example, under advanced accounting section, it's asking if I want to enable invoices and bills to set an accounting date, depending might be different from an invoice date. And I'm actually not interested on that one. I'm quite fine, because unless it start to cause any issues, I will come and enable this one accrual dates. If you want to use reverse on date journals, tailored account codes, or alphabetized account codes, you can enable those as well. Industry specific, if it applies, like construction industry scheme, this also you can find under accounting section. And journals, if you want VAT return journals, create them, enable here as well. Currency codes, option to use currency codes instead of currency symbols, then you can do that one here. Yeah, so this is about features. So invoice preferences. Under invoice preferences, this is how you want invoices to start, the same as quotes and credit notes. Do you want them have specific prefix, or you want maybe invoices instead of from starting number 1, you want them to start from, let's say, 100 or 1000. This is where we can actually specify. So payment details, in my case, my Rita K Bank current, what I set up, it's my default payment method. So if I want to use sales invoice prefix, then I can add it here. So in my case, I will have RKINV. Okay, purchase invoice prefix, I will just put PO as a standard one. Next one, default customer credit terms. Then from drop down list, there's two only options, either last day of a month or days after invoice date. In my case, it will be days after invoice date, and I give 7 days customers to pay if I issue invoice. Supplier credit terms, the same, it will be days after invoice date, and often it is 30 days. If I want, I can add default invoice payment text. At this moment is set up by system as thank you for your business. If you want to add more details, you can modify it here by adding more information. Default offline items per invoice. If you want to see 2, 3, or maybe 10 lines per invoice, so you can add itemized or issue itemized invoices, you can have more than one, but of course you will be able to add more lines if you wish to. And first invoice number, in my case, first invoice number will be 101 instead from starting just 1. Okay. Invoice multiple contacts, in my case, So this is as pop-up message says, this allows invoicing to individual contacts within a company if needed, and company and contact country visibility. From drop-down list, I can select either show always or show only if the countries don't match. So I will select only if countries don't match. And VAT default, in my case there is no VAT. Once you have updated this, don't forget to click save. Okay, now it's saved. Okay, next one, invoice themes. So there is invoice templates provided by ClearBooks, so you can select any which you are actually fancying to use when you issue your invoices. So in my case, I will use dark turquoise. When you click on these three dots, you can set as default. Okay, so next one is payment methods. This is where you can add any other payment methods if you wish. So there is bank transfers, and there is like e-payments called website payments if you wish to add information here and click add, and you can add any other payment method if it's available. I would say 99% it's covered. Like most often ones are at the top, bank transfers and cash, and also email payments and website payments are there as well. Okay, and if you don't want to use any of those, for example, I don't want to use checks, you click on that cross and click close, and checks will be removed or closed in this case, closed, and will be not available from a payment method list. Okay, and next one and not least important is accounting. And under accounting there is account codes. So most commonly known as a chart of accounts or list of codes in my accounting software. So these are all the codes what are currently provided by ClearBooks. If I need to add something new, for example, I have only 4 revenue streams, including one of them are a construction industry scheme, which will not apply to me. Materials revenue, no, and labor revenue, not as well. So I have 1 revenue code, and I want to actually add 3 more revenue codes based on my actual revenue or income stream. So how I can add new revenue stream? Click on create account code, and here add the account name. So I will add sales, and I will call it bracelets account. Okay, now I need to select account type. In this case it is revenue code, and I can select where it needs to show up. In my case, sales bracelet is sales code, it's not purchase code, and click save new account. Next one, I will have sales, and I will have necklaces. Okay, the same, it will be in the revenue code and it will be in sales list. I will save this, and I will have third income stream, and it is called earrings. Okay, if I need to add, okay, let's go quickly to list. So now I can see that my sales 3 new codes are added here, and they are showing on sales section, not in purchases. But if I would need to use one of those also in purchases, I can edit this code, or this, yeah, I would say account code, and amend information accordingly. If you need to add an expense code, you can see purchases is like expense or cost code to business, and for example there is insurance, but you want to separate, and maybe you want to have a business insurance which is not relating to rents and rates, it's mainly more covering as a business operations, then you can actually create it by clicking create account code, call it as a business insurance, select an account type. So in my case it will be, if it can be directly relating to cost of sales as a direct cost, because it's insurance for my products, high value products, or I can select one of the categories below. For example, if it's maybe okay, let's quickly check. Maybe we will, I don't know where to move it at the moment. Yeah, I think so. There is no subcategory, so I could create a new account type and allocate it to particular section. So for example, cost of sales, and I would call this one direct costs, and showing purchase list, and save new account. Okay, so when I go back to all codes, I can see there is direct costs and there is business insurance. If I want, I can later delete it by clicking on this bin icon and click delete, and it will be removed. So that's how you can remove any codes if you wish to. So now when I go under accounting, there is also periods. So if one financial year will finish and I don't want to make any unnecessary changes by mistake, for example entering invoice in a previous period, I can actually lock by clicking on this padlock if required. So this has been quite a long section, but there's lots of what need to be covered under settings, and to make sure that actually, for example, you can find where to enable purchase orders if you want to issue ones to your suppliers, or where to enable quotes if you need to issue quotes, plus how we can amend chart of accounts, and also how we can update the details on our organization section, and little bit personalized by selecting invoice templates, what we wish to, as well as adding logos. My business have a bank account, but I have also taken out some cash. So I can actually pay for expenses in cash if I'm on a go, and if there is still any places who don't accept wireless payments, so credit card or debit card payments. So I set up my bank details already when I registered on QuickBooks accounting software. But now, how I can actually add a new account, if it can be a bank account, credit card account, or even, like in my case, a cash account on QuickBooks accounting software. So let's have a look at the next section called money. So how we can add a new bank account or cash account, like in my case, to QuickBooks accounting software. So we need to go to section called money, and under it we have an option to click on bank accounts. Currently I have my current account. I can still edit it, or if I wish to, I can delete it. Not in my case now. So to add a new bank account, click on add account, and we have multiple account options provided here, and the one which I want to add, I just need to go there and click on add. So in my case, I want to add cash account first. So click on add, provide details, account name, in my case it will be petty cash, it's already provided, and bank contact, in my case it will be new bank. There is also settings if I want to show my cash account showing up on dashboard, and also I can select if I want this one to be a default choice in drop downs, and in my case my current bank account is my default choice, so cash account will be a second account to keep in a list. If I don't want to show on dashboard, I just need to change my current selection to no. Okay, and payment methods, currently there is cash, which makes sense, it's a cash account, but if you want to add more payment methods, click on here, type in payment method what will go into this petty cash account in my case, and click add. So once you have filled in all these 3 sections, click on save. Now our petty cash has been added here. Let's add new credit card account. So click on add account, and next to credit card, click on add. Credit card account name, okay. I can link to bank account if I wish to, like I can link to my bank account current, I will not link it, and bank contact, it will be new bank. Settings, I want it to be showed on a dashboard, but it will be not my default choice on drop downs. Payment methods, it is credit card. If you wish, you can select any other options provided that would apply for this particular bank account. So once you have filled in details, click save. Easy and simple, right? So now we have two additional bank accounts added, not bank accounts, money accounts added. So cash account and credit card account. So on money section, there is one more feature what I want to mention, and it is opening balances. So if I had an opening balance in my petty cash or in my current account, I need to go and click on cash here, and I can add an opening balances from here. However, if it's been like business owner investment, I would go and click on other balances, and I would add an information here. So in my case, I had petty cash, not petty cash, I have current account 1,500. I'll click update. And when I go to other, I will remove from retained earnings, and I will add that is shared capital place, because it's actually in limited company, it is an investment, 1,500 what I have added to my bank account. Okay, and don't forget to click update. Okay, so now we have bank account with an opening balance of £1,500. Yeah, I can dispatch it tomorrow. Okay, Jane, yeah, sorted out. Send me address please to my email. Yeah, okay, thank you. Bye. Another customer on my list. Great, right? But how I can add a contact details like customer details or supplier details on Clearbooks accounting software? Let's have a look at next section called contacts. So how we can add a new contact, either customer or supplier on Clearbooks. To add a new contact, we need to go to contact section, and here we have little bit settings to go through as well. So there is emails, email attachments, email settings, and email templates to go through. So let's quickly cover it before we add our customers and suppliers. So on all email section, this is where we will be able to see emails what have been sent out to our customers or suppliers. Email attachments, if there is any attachments that I would like to attach to future sales invoices, reminders or quote or emails, I can attach them here. So in my case, because I'm part of jewelry business, I provide also how to look after jewelry as a kit and return slips or documents. So let's upload them. Okay, let's click add documents, and I have cleaning guide, and also I should have a return form. Okay, one by one. I'll click upload. And I will select attach by default, click update. Okay, and I will upload a return form as well. Okay, and I will upload. So if you will not tick this box, these attached files will not automatically attach to an invoices. So in my case, I have selected that they need to be attached by default to whomever I'm issuing invoice system. Yeah. So next one is about email settings. Here I can add who I want to BCC, maybe myself if I wish, maybe. And then there is auto sender. So enable auto sender, receive a copy of each email, receive a summary of all emails, or also days to wait before sending. So you can enable these features as well. And auto prompt as well, select which ones applies to you or you wish to enable, and reminders if you want to send reminders to your customers as well. And as I said, don't forget to save any changes what you're making under email settings. And last one is email templates. Here there is a messages of what would show up when invoice or payment or quote has been sent out automatically from ClearBooks accounting software, so you can amend that information if you wish to, or if you want to add something else. For example, if I want to add kind regards Rita K Limited, and click save, so that would be added and showed into invoice when it's distributed automatically from the system. So now, as we have covered these email settings which are linked to suppliers or customers, we can add a new customer or new supplier. So how we can add a new customer? To add a new customer, click on customer section, and there is already a blue button called add customer. Here we have multiple sections to cover for this particular customer, what I'm adding, and we will go one by one through. So firstly, there is basic information. So my customer is an online shop in this case. Okay, I need to select title if I want to add details about who is representing this company. So in my case, it's Mr. John Smith. And also, if I have an email address, phone number, primary and secondary, I can fill in those details there. So I will add my email address. Okay, and if you, as I said, if you have phone number, you can add it here as well. So next one is preset information. This contact is a customer, but sometimes it happens when customer can be also a supplier. So you can actually select a customer and a supplier if you wish to do so. In my case, this is just purely customer to my business. Customer invoice defaults, you can add an information. So for example, if there is default account code where you want to allocate when you issue invoices to particular groups, so it can automatically pick up revenue stream. VAT rate, no VAT. Bank account, I will just select my current account to use, and default payment terms is 7 days and after invoice date. Customer bank details, if you have bank details, you can add it there. So for example, it's company name, limited, bank country, select bank country, I will have UK, add account number, sort code, if you have IBAN or SWIFT codes, they can be entered there as well, bank name, and bank address as well. Okay, next one, invoice address. So where this invoice should be issued to, because sometimes delivery address might differ from an invoice address for a particular customer. So in my case, invoice address is Green Street. Postcode, I can add a postcode and it will search by this postcode. Okay, I will add. Okay, address line, I actually had address line there. Town, I will select as a London, and it's UK. Okay, delivery address, if it's different, you can enter here. Under other information, we have an option to add a VAT number if we have VAT number, company number if we have available, Skype and website and fax numbers. Also, if this customer will become inactive, we can archive it at a later time. If there is external ID to use, or how many invoices I want to see on the statement, you can add it here. I'll select 50 in case. Under additional contacts, I can add an additional contacts, because sometimes it's not only, for example, sales manager, but there might be also finance director, finance manager contact details provided to reach out. Those can be added by clicking add contact and fill in details there. So once you have filled in all these sections, don't forget to click save. So now online shop has been added. I have option to overview it, so I can see details about this particular customer. I can see a full statement at a later time, run balances, edit contacts, archive contacts, create invoices, create quotes. So I can do quite a lot of from their account. So when I click on customers, I can see my online shop here, and I have option under it automatically to like issue invoice or quote, or even create a credit note. In my case, if I want, I can edit contact, and I will be brought back to an option to amend details for this customer. Okay, so this way how we can add customers. So now how I can add the suppliers. The same way, click on suppliers under contact section and click on add supplier. So one of my suppliers is Materials Limited. The same way, there is multiple sections to go through, and if you have details available, just fill in those on particular or section. Okay, so I have Materials Limited. If I have details available for this supplier, so I have Chris Brown. If I have email address and phone numbers, they can be entered there. Preset information. Likewise, like with customer, my supplier can be either customer or supplier if needed. In this case, materials is just a supplier. Invoice default, so I can select a default account. In my case, this would be materials. VAT, I'm not tracking VAT, so I will say no VAT. And credit terms often are 30 days, but if this supplier are set or have set 7 days as a payment terms to me, or maybe immediately for a payment, that means that you need to enter 0 in days after invoice date. Employment status, it can be employee or director, so if you need to add an employee, then don't forget to change employment statements and select if it's employee or director under suppliers. Yeah. And of course, if it will be employee, you can add national insurance number and self-assessment reference if required. Under supplier bank details, you can select and add details, bank details of this supplier. So my company name is Materials. Bank country is UK. Account number I will have. And sort code. Likewise, with customer, if you have IBAN or SWIFT code, can be entered there. Bank name, I will have local bank, and address can be added there. Invoice address, depending, you can find from first invoice what supplier sends to you. You can see address there. Otherwise, it will be in a contract provided as well, so you can fill in details there. So in my case, I will have postcode TH125T, address will be Green Street, town, I will have London, and it's UK. Delivery address, if you have different delivery address, you can add it there. Other information will include VAT number, company number, and more details like website and fax. And if you don't want to archive, don't click yes please, otherwise it will be archived. And how many visible invoices? I will select 50. Additional contacts, if you need to add additional contacts apart from what you have added in basic information, you can do it under additional contacts. Once you have filled in details about this supplier, click save. So now these are the details what have been saved about supplier. When you click on overview, we have more details available if there is any invoices issued, if there is anything overdue, and etc. So if I go to suppliers list, I can see my materials added there, so I can create a bill or I create a credit note. Also, I can edit contact if required. All customers or suppliers will be listed in alphabetical order. So at the top you can select particular letter and you will be able to see that customers or suppliers under this particular letter. So if I need to online shop to get, click on O letter and you will get your customers under O letter below. So this way how we can add a new customer, new supplier, and also amend emails which would be sent out directly from QuickBooks accounting software. I want to manage stock of my pearl necklaces. So I have white pearl necklaces, as you can see, good. And I have dark green, in my case, pearl necklaces. So I want to manage stock because instead of making these pearl necklaces myself, I have actually found a supplier with very good pearl necklaces. So I want to manage stock. So how I can manage stock on QuickBooks accounting software? Plus, to keep safe my necklaces, I have actually purchased a window display furniture with locks to keep them secure. So how I can manage stock and also record fixed assets on QuickBooks accounting software. Let's have a look at next section called Tools and subsection Stock and Fixed Assets. Let's have a look at stock and fixed assets. So to access stock and fixed assets, we need to go to Tools section. If you cannot see stock and fixed assets here, you will need to go to Settings and look on these features and unlock fixed assets as the same as stock and product list. Yep. So let's add stock. So I want to manage stock for my white pearl and dark green pearl necklaces. To add a new item, click on Add Item here. I need to select an item type. In this case, it will be both. It will be sale and it will be a purchase. So I would purchase them already made and would resell. So I want to look on both sides. Okay. Now I need to add a name. So in my case, it will be necklace. Okay, and I can add description if I want more details. I will just copy about information from above. Okay, so this is general information. Now I have two sections, for sale and for purchases. So for sale, sales price for necklaces £25. Account for these necklaces to receive money in will be under sales and necklaces. That is the code what I created as part of my settings section when I reviewed. I showed how we can add separate income streams. So I have created separate free income streams. Okay, so sales necklaces. I have no VAT. I'm not VAT registered business. And currently I'm selling as a quantity of 1. For purchases, cost of these necklaces is 15. Account, I will have costs of sales and I have no VAT and quantity is 1. And if I want to manage stock, so track stock, I need to select yes. And opening stock for my white pearl necklaces, I have actually 10 in stock. Okay, on right hand side there is show or hide. So if I want to show a name, I want to show a quantity, unit price and price. If I don't want to see any of them, click on drop down list and select hide. All of them have second options to select a hide. Okay, once you have filled in details, click save. Okay, so now I have added my necklace white pearl one and I can see there is purchase price and there is sales price of this necklace. Okay, let's add a dark pearl necklace. Okay, so item type, in my case it's both. and it will be dark green pearl. Okay, so I have added both of my stock items what I want to track. So I have option when I select to edit, so edit selected, I can select two and edit both in one go, or I can delete selected or create invoice from selected. Okay, I can look at stock history by clicking on it, so I can see that I have in stock 5 currently. Okay, let's go back to my stock. Also, I can edit, so I can edit information what I have added. Maybe I want to add more description or amend description line. I can do it here. Okay, and also I can delete this particular line. So this way how you can create a list of your stock items and manage those by adding purchasing price or sales price. If I have only stock what I only sell, so I'm making them, maybe like I'm making jewelry, so I can actually add necklace, and maybe I have 100 different particular type, I can add them here. But majority of my other items are more unique, one-offs, so those I don't want to manage or look how many items I have in stock and how many I need to send out to customers. Okay, next section is fixed assets. So I have this special window covered table, like display tables with a lock. So I want to add those as my fixed assets. So to add fixed assets, I need to start by adding first asset here. Okay, so let's start. Asset name, I have, I will call furniture. With lock. Okay. Fixed asset prefix I will keep as a FA, I'm fine, and asset number 1, I'm fine. Cost, I purchased this set window display table with the locks. I purchased for £850, quite expensive. Purchase date, in my case I purchased this one on 31st of May. An account, it will go under fixtures and fittings. Okay, so there is a couple more sections. So if I will have equipment, like I will add in a laptop, then it will go under plant and equipment. If I have a building, what I would own, maybe warehouse or storage facility, I would add it under land and property. And if I would have a business car, what I would purchase under business name, then I would be recording asset under motor vehicle. So in my case, furniture will go under this section. I can add more description if I want, and I think so I have already quite detailed in my asset name. Okay, then next section is depreciation. So there is two most commonly used depreciation methods. Either straight line, that means that every month there will be the same amount released until useful life of this asset finishes. So for example, if my asset useful life is 3 years, then after 36 months asset value should often be a 0. So I would depreciate, in my case I have £850 divided by 36 months. Every month exactly the same amount would be depreciated. So if I would use straight line method, if I would use reducing balance, that would mean that assets are more value, or more value will be depreciated at the beginning of asset's useful life compared to the closer to end of its useful life. And that more reducing balance would more apply to, I would say, equipment, because you will need less maintenance and looking after of your machinery or particular equipment, including laptops or computer setups. than at the end or closer to end of its useful life. So in that case, you would write it off more at the beginning and less at a later time. So that is the difference between two depreciation methods. So for my furniture, for my table, I will use straight line method. Depreciation rate, if I would want to use depreciation rate, I need to add it here. My economic life is 4 years for this furniture, and depreciation account will be fixtures and fittings, matching exactly with the same account, but in this case it's depreciation account. Okay, and accumulated depreciation, it's quite new asset. I don't have any accumulated depreciation, but if you have used different accounting software previously and you had assets and they are more, or they've been purchased previous year or a couple months ago, then you might have already accumulated depreciation, so you would need to enter it here. Accumulated depreciation account, this is where depreciation need to be accounted. In this case it is depreciation account first one. This is for, so this one is going to profit and loss statement, and this would reduce actual balance on balance sheet. Okay, depreciation start date, in my case it will be 1st June. Once you have added details about this asset, don't forget to click confirm new asset. Okay, so now my furniture has been added. So when I click on fixed assets, I can see that fixtures and fittings there is 850. To create a new asset, so I want to add my laptop, I will click on create fixed asset. In this case, I will add my laptop. Okay, asset number I will keep the same, FA, and number is automatically generated by system. Cost of my asset is 975. Purchase date, it was purchased on 31st of May. Account, in this case it will be plant and equipment in my case. Description, I can add more details if I want regarding this asset, for example rose pink laptop, any brand, any other serial numbers, maybe add those here to recognize an asset in the future. Okay, depreciation method, in my case I will use for this asset a reducing balance, because my laptop will be most powerful and will work without major maintenance required at the beginning of useful life, compared to when it will get closer to let's say end of second year or third year. Yeah, so it's why I will use reducing balance, and depreciation rate I will select as a 20%. Okay, because I'm using reducing balance based on percentage, I will not add economic life for this asset. Okay, depreciation account, in my case this will go to plant and equipment to profit and loss statement, and if there is accumulated depreciation you can add it there as I mentioned. And depreciation, which would reduce balance on your balance sheet of plant and equipment, need to be selected, this one. Start date of depreciation, it will start from 1st of June in my case, and confirm new asset. So now when I go to fixed assets, I have fixtures and fittings asset added there, and plants and equipment asset added there. So in this section I showed you how you can add and manage your stock levels, as well as how you can record or add your fixed assets. So yeah, this section covered stock and fixed assets. When I started my business, I actually invested some funds by purchasing materials and supplies so I can create my jewelry. And also, alongside having purchased some materials, I purchased some pre-made earrings, bracelets, as well as necklaces. So how I can add bills, supplier invoices on ClearBooks accounting software. Also, I had a couple of suppliers asking for purchase orders for beads. So how I can issue purchase order and convert it to a supplier invoice or to bill once I actually have received supplier invoice. Plus, I have some recurring bills like my phone bill or rent bill, which occurs on a monthly basis. So how I can set up recurring supplier invoices on ClearBooks accounting software as well. And if I have received some damaged goods, how I can record credit notes that I have received from supplier invoices. A lot to cover in this section. Let's start with the purchase orders first. So how we can issue purchase order, and then once we have received the supplier invoice, how we can convert this purchase order to a supplier invoice. We need to go to purchase section, and under it there is purchase orders. From here, click on this blue button called create appear, and we are presented with empty or blank purchase order template what we need to fill in. So if we want to issue a purchase order to completely new supplier, click on add, and you will need to fill in this contact card details for this supplier, including going through starting from basic information and then going to address details and any other information if you need to provide. If you have supplier already on list, then click on this drop down list and select supplier to which you want to issue a purchase order. So in my case it will be for Materials Limited. Select the purchase order date. I will select 1st of July. You can change the due date if you wish to, as well as add a reference number if you want to. Otherwise, leave just a blank. Purchase order is number 1. If you want to change it, you can amend it if you really want to change it to completely different numbering. Theme, it is template what I selected in settings section, but when you click on drop down list you can actually select one of available. So you can maybe send purchase order with black and magenta. When you send invoices you send dark turquoise. When you add supplier invoices, maybe you select dark green or dark orange. It's up to you. Okay, so next section is we need to add items. So if you have created an item list or product list, you can select from your item list already, or you can just start typing description and you can see there is a star. That means that it's mandatory, while items are not mandatory to select. So for Materials Limited, I will issue a purchase order for my items. I want to get more necklaces, so I want to get dark green necklace. It's already defaults to cost of sales account, but you can still amend it if you wish to. So that is where costs of this item will show up. Quantity, I want to order 50 dark green necklaces. Unit price, it's the same price what was automatically set up on system, but we can still amend if we want to. I have no VAT, it's the same, it's why VAT has been not calculated, and it's showing gross value, which is unit price times quantity. To add a new line, click on add new line, and I can select my second line item, and I want to get 100 of white pearl necklaces. Okay, and if you want to add free line information like shipping costs, then click on add new line item. I will add a shipping, and you need to select from drop down list account where these costs will go. In my case it will go to postage if there is. Yeah, there is postage and packaging, and it's one at a price of 25. Okay, if you are happy with all details entered here, follow to next section, and there is summary, so you can add more details or some delivery notes. Maybe there is some secure place where these items will need to be placed once order being created, or maybe there's particular requirements how this order need to be packed. Okay, once you are happy with this purchase order information, we have a couple of options. We can preview it, we can refresh, we can save as draft, or save. When you click on save, this is a purchase order. we need to go to complete, and we have an option. So if we select it, we can print or delete. If we hover above manage, we have an option to edit, save as PDF or print, get a link and share a link. We can email, we can create a bill, copy or delete. So in my case, I will click email. I need to provide to whom I will send this purchase order out. I can add an attachment if required, like I have already in system available cleaning guide and return form, which is not applying to suppliers. This is information what will show up on the email, and click send email. But if you decide to hand to this person in person, then you can select as hand delivered, or if you send in purchase order via post, then you can click on send by post. I will send via email. Okay. Okay, there is some settings which doesn't selected my email. Okay, then I will mark that it's been sent by post. Okay, so once you mark is sent out, envelope from black color change to blue. Okay, so if supplier have sent us an invoice, instead of going and adding it as a separate invoice, we can actually convert this purchase order to an invoice. Either we can click on this purchase order and click on create bill, or if I go back to purchase order list, quickest way is to going through manage and click on create bill. You can see that title from purchase order has changed to create a bill, and you can add a bill number. So either you can keep a system automatically generated number, or we can use an actual supplier bill number. And in this case, if you want, you can keep system bill number and then add supplier invoice number here if needed. So I have materials, invoice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check date, date was 1st. Information, it all looks fine and acceptable, and click save. So now this is supplier invoice, what has been recorded from a purchase order. I can add an attachment, click upload files, and I have materials, invoice here, click open, click attach, and attachment has been added to this invoice. So if I go back to bill section, I can see attachment here, that means the support document has been added. And if I go to purchase orders, it shows that this purchase order has been converted to a supplier invoice. So this is way how we can create the purchase orders, and once we have received the supplier invoice, how we can convert purchase order to a supplier invoice. So now under purchase section, we issued purchase orders and converted those to a supplier invoice or to a bill. But how we can actually set up a recurring bills or recurring supplier invoices on Clearbooks accounting software? So I have two items. I have phone here, which will represent the phone bill, and I have keys of my office. So how we can set up a rent recurring invoice and phone bill recurring bill or supplier invoice on Clearbooks accounting software. To create a recurring bill or recurring supplier invoice, we need to go to purchase section, but we need to click on recurring. Here I can create a bulk bills, or I can create recurring bill template. So in my case, I need to create a recurring invoice for rent and for phone bill. So supplier, if I need to add new one, click on add, otherwise select from your drop down list. In my case, I have rent limited already added. Select an invoice date, so I will select 20th of June. Due date is 20th of July. Reference, I will add as a rent 2022. Purchase order reference. If there is purchase order, you can select from drop-down list, otherwise just leave it blank. Theme is a template of an invoice. Frequency, this is when we need to select how often this recurring bill or recurring supplier invoice will be created on system. And in my case, it will be created monthly. And this invoice need to be created as a draft or as an approved. So if it's unapproved, it will show up on a list and it will be available to mark for payments. So in my case, I will create those as a draft and then I will recheck, and if I have actual invoice, I can attach it on this particular bill when it's created. And I can select how many times or how often this recurring purchase bill need to be created. And in my case, I have contract for 12 months, so 12 times it will be need to be created. Because rent bill is not an item, I will add it in the description, just monthly rent. I will select an account, so cost or expense account. I will type in and search by rent. Quantity 1, and price I have 350. There is no VAT. If there is no any other lines that need to be added, then click save. Okay, now I can copy and I can amend details for my phone limited. So phone limited 2006, I have phone. It's monthly, it will be saved as a draft and it will occur 12 times. And it is monthly phone charges. Okay, account code is phone and price is 50. Okay, and click save. Okay, so now when I go to recurring list, I can see that there is recurring invoice or recurring bill set up number 1 and phone bill set up as 2. So rent is number 1 and phone bill is number 2. So I have a couple options. If I select, I can download this PDF, and if I go to right hand side, I have options to manage, so I can edit, I can get a online link, or I can print or download if I wish to. If it's been created or distributed, these will gray ones will turn to a color, and it's showing that it is recurring. So this is a way how we can create a recurring or set up recurring bills on ClearBooks accounting software. Looking at my notepad, I can see that I have a couple more supplier invoices that I haven't added on my ClearBooks accounting software. So how I can add supplier invoices in a bulk, or if I want one by one on ClearBooks accounting software. Plus, I have received also a credit note from supplier, how I can record it, and if I have supplier invoice available, how I can allocate this credit note to this particular invoice. Let's add more bills on ClearBooks accounting software. So when I click on under purchases section, when I click on bills, I have an option to create a bill, so one by one, or create bulk bills. So let's have a look on create bulk bills. If I have one-liner invoices received by suppliers, this will be your most likely go-to area. So for example, let's add couple bills. So I will add on, let's say 10th of June, and I can either add completely new supplier. You will be presented with a contact card to fill in, or you can select from your contact list already available suppliers. So I have internet limited, I can add a reference, so supplier invoice bill number, description, monthly internet, and I can add a net value. So internet bill was 50, and I can select a VAT, there is no VAT, and I can select an expense account. So this was for internet, and there is internet available. Next one, I have phone bill. So how I can add phone bill? I have phone bill added as a supplier, phone monthly phone bill as a description. Net value is 30, no VAT, and it is for telephone. Next one, I have also rent bill for a June to be added. Select rent. And it is 350, no VAT, and it's already allocates rent and rates because I set up recurring invoices, supplier invoices. Next one, if I have a bill to add for July, so internet bill for July, I will select an internet, I will copy information from above, $50, no VAT, and search by internet. Okay, so if I want to add phone, I can, by clicking on this, I can copy that line and it will show up below already for me. So only thing what is left for me to do is just to amend date, update supplier invoice number, and if any changes happen there. So I can now delete middle line by clicking on this cross. So there are 5 invoices which are one-liner invoices that I want to add, and click save. So all 5 invoices has been automatically added here. Easy and simple. Only thing what is not added is a support document. So if I need to add for internet support document, click on this cloud, click on upload files, and I have internet bill here. Click open. Don't forget to click on attach, so it's attached there, and click back. And when I go to bills and I look at my internet bill, there is a blue pin now showing up. So that's the way how you quickly can attach support documents like invoices, supplier invoices, to all these bulk imports. If we need to enter supplier invoice with multiple lines, click on create a bill, select a supplier. So for example, I have local shop and I have 16th of June reference. In my case, it will be a local shop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have purchase order and I'm fine with theme. Now I have materials. I need to select account, it will be materials. I will have a mix of materials, so I will leave a quantity 1 and I will add a price of 250 here, no VAT, gross 250. And then I have also office equipment, like equipment, if I could type. And those are like mainly scissors or needles to make my, it's not long-term assets, they are just a small equipment which can break quite easily. And so will be part of cost of sales in my case, and they costed £85. Okay, so if I'm happy with these added details, I can add a summary detail if I want. I can then click save. When I click save, I can add attachment, upload files, and I had local shop, click open, attach, and when I go back, attachment has been added for local shop. So if I go back to bills, local shop bill has been added there with an attachment. So if you have multi-lines, create a bill. If you have single line supplier invoices. Use create bulk bills. Okay, now I have also received a credit note. So how I can issue credit notes? So there is a section called credit notes. Click on credit notes and we have option to create a credit note, or if you have received multiple credit notes, then you will have an option to create bulk credit notes. In my case, I have create credit note. I will select the supplier. There's credit note from local shop. Select the date. Reference. I have local shop 1231. I think it's 2255. And description. I will say materials. And it was for £35. Okay, so there is my amount. If you have multiple lines, just add new line and you will be able to fill in details there. If you do not need other line, click on that X. Okay, and add summary details if you want and click save. Here I can add an attachment, upload files. So local shop 2250, attach, and when I go back, attachment is attached to this credit note. And now how I can actually allocate this credit note to my local shop bill. So the way how we can do is, if I go to credit notes and I click on this actual credit note, and when I scroll till bottom, there is available open invoices to which ones I can actually allocate this credit note. And if you're happy to allocate to this particular supplier invoice, click apply. And then credit would be applied against that invoice. So if I go back to my credit notes, there is zero amount of unallocated. So I have allocated £35. And when I go to my bills, then I can see that original value was 335 and now it's only 300 due. So if I click on this entry, then if I scroll a little bit down under payment history, there is information that there is a credit note, payment ID is 14. If this has been allocated by mistake, this can be still deleted if need to be. Clicking on payment ID 14, I can access my credit note. And if I want, I can view that one as a PDF. It's there. And I can edit, copy, also view attachments. So this is a way how we can add the supplier invoices, how we can add supplier invoices in bulk, and also how we can create credit notes on ClearBooks accounting software that have been issued to me, in my case, from my suppliers. So I've done a little bit of shopping. I went and I purchased a little bit more envelopes and packing materials, as well as some stationery, what is required for my day-to-day business running. So, okay, here is my receipt. Here is my ribbon, and here is my materials like beads, what I purchased. So, how I can actually record cash expenses as well as mileage expenses on ClearBooks accounting software. Here's my receipt. Let's add these transactions on my accounting software. First thing what we need to do to be able to record expenses under purchases section, there is expenses, we need to add an employee. So in my case, I'm the only one in a business at the moment, so I will add myself. So click on add an employee, and you possibly notice that you've been dropped to contact section suppliers. So here, add details about yourself. So supplier invoice default, its system already says that you are an employee. In my case, I'm an employee. So I need to go to basic information and add details about myself. So I will say I'm Rita K, first name, surname, K. Select, I will select Miss. Okay, and click save. So now contact has been added successfully. Let's go to purchase section and click on expenses. Now I can add a receipt. Here will need to submit for approval. So receipt from, in my case, will be Rita K. And employee claiming is me. So if I want, I can select a supplier name, but in my case, it all will go under me, okay? Date of this receipt was 20th of July. And I can add a reference if I want to. For example, if I have one receipt, I can add that receipt number here. And I can add the description. So in my case was office supplies. So it's stationery, okay? Choose account. So stationery should be there. So there's printing and stationery. I will have quantity 1 and I can add the unit price. So 33.35. In my case, what I have spent, there is no VAT. I don't track VAT because I'm not VAT registered business. If you are VAT registered business, select appropriate VAT rate for you. Okay, so there is 33.35. I can add in summary, like a breakdown of what I purchased if I wish to, and I can submit for approval. Under manage attachments, I can upload files. So in my case, I can attach a receipt for post notes and etc. Okay, I will click open. Don't forget to attach. Close it. So attachment has been added and I can submit for approval now. Okay, so now for this employee, if I want to see expenses which have been unapproved, they're showing up below there. So if I want to approve, I can select and click approve. Under manage, I have option to view a scan, view this submitted receipt or expense, edit or delete. So if I'm happy with what has been submitted, I can approve. So now expense claim has been approved. It's under approved status. Under manage, I can look at attachments, make a copy, edit, get an online link and print or download as PDF. If I click on this expense, I have an option to add a note if I want to, or I can copy, edit, view attachment, or also delete. Okay, so if I need to add or create a mileage receipt, click on create mileage receipt. Here we need to set up a transport first. So if you want to claim mileage, which is 45 pence in UK per mile, you will need to add your vehicle first. So for example, it's Rita's car. Select from type, which one is it? In my case, it's car 1. Fuel, is it petrol, diesel, gas, or maybe hybrid or hybrid? Hybrid. In my case, it's petrol. And I can select what is an engine size. So in my case, it's quite small car, and I can provide more details. Maybe it's gray and etc. model and type, and click submit. So I have added my vehicle now. So when I go to expenses, I can create a mileage receipt. So I need to select employee claiming. In my case, it's me. Select the date. Select 20th of July. Reference, I have, for example, a receipt. I will select my dark green, and I can add a detail. So for example, from where to where I traveled. So I had a supplier meeting at Luton. So I traveled London to Luton. Transport, if you have multiple, you can select from drop-down list, or you can add a new transport by clicking this plus button. Select the passengers. In my case, it was 1 passenger. Passenger rate per mile 0.05. Distance traveled, I will select 75 miles. Price calculated there. If there is no VAT applicable, And also I can select where this need to be reported. In this case, it is under mileage. Okay, I can add another item, click add item, and then you can add more details. So I will delete it. And if you have more details to provide, summary text can be added there, and click submit for approval. Okay, so now under unapproved there is this mileage with details and for an amount. If I click under manage, I can attach a scan, so I can upload and attach receipt. So for example, I have fuel receipt here. Click on open. Don't forget to click on attach, so receipt is attached. When I go back to this receipt, let's go to expenses, to list of expenses, and I'm looking at unapproved at the moment. There is attachment added as well, so I can view a scan. I can view this entry, so how this mileage been added. I can edit, I can delete. If I'm happy, I can select. If I would have multiple, I can select the ones which I want to approve and click approve. So expense claim has been approved. So now if you look on draft, there is no expenses in draft. There is no expenses under unapproved section, and when you click on approved, there is approved mileage claim, and also there is for stationery what I recorded as receipt. So this is a way how we can record expenses on ClearBooks accounting software. I have a new customer, well, potential customer, and it is Gift Limited. They have inquired me to send a quote for 50 white pearl necklaces. So how I can issue sales quotes from ClearBooks accounting software. To issue sales quote from ClearBooks accounting software, we need to go to sales section, and there is subsection called quotes. From here, to create a new quote, click on create a quote, and we need to fill in details. So if it's completely new customer, we will need to click on add and add a new customer, so fill in all details in contact card. Or if it's already available on our customer list, so from this drop down list we can get it. So in my case, I have Gift Limited already on my list. Select the date of a quote. I will have 1st of July, credit terms is 7 days, and I can add a reference saying that pearl necklace. Okay. Quote type, we can change it if we need to estimate pro forma invoice or sales order. So if actually we need to issue pro forma invoice, then select pro forma invoice as a quote type. Okay, so I have quote here. I'm happy with my template. Now I need to select items. So quote is for white pearl necklaces. So I will select white pearl necklace, and because I have already added this item on my stock list, then it will fill in details for me. Only thing what I need to change is a quantity. So I have 50 necklaces for this quote to be added. Okay. If I need to add a new line, click on add new line. Otherwise, just delete by clicking on this X. We can also add the summary details if required, and we can change a bank if we want to display different bank details on this quote. If we need to add any attachments, we can click on manage attachments and upload support documents or maybe pictures what we want to provide with this quote. Okay, then we have an option to preview. If we click on preview, we will see how the quote looks like. Okay, this is a quote. Okay, and we can refresh and we can save as a draft. So if I save as a draft, I have options under manage. I can edit, I can download or print, I can get an online link, I can attach support documents, pictures, contracts if required, I can create an invoice, I can copy quote, or also I can mark as a complete. So if I click as mark complete, this quote has been moved from draft to a complete section. From here, I have an option to email out to my customer. I can still edit if I need to, but if I click on email, I will be brought to a section where I can add to whom I'm sending this quote to. Or if I prefer to send by post or hand delivered, then select one of those options. In my case, it was hand delivered. Okay, so now the envelope changed to blue. Okay, so this is a way how we can issue quote, mark as a complete, and send out to a customer. Now I have received an approval and they're quite happy with my rate, so I need to get my 50 white pearl necklaces packed up and distributed out to them as soon as possible. So how I can convert quote to an invoice, and plus how I can actually print a delivery note and send out with my 50 white pearl necklaces. Once customer come back to me and like Gift Limited is happy with a quote, we can convert it to an invoice. So we have two ways how we can do it. Either we can go under manage and then we can mark as accepted, yeah, or we can directly create an invoice. So we can create an invoice from this manage section, or if we open a quote, we can create an invoice by clicking on this icon. Now we are brought into invoices section, and this is how we can create an invoice. So all information are brought forward to this invoice. Only thing what we need to change is a date. Make sure that you amend your date. Okay, reference will be your quotes number, and there is the details about necklace. If you need to add the shipping costs, we can add those here. Okay, and under add summary information, we can change our bank details, or we can set up an e-payment called an instant bank payments if you wish to do so. We can add attachments, so we can preview this invoice, we can refresh, we can save as a draft, or we can completely save. By that I mean that it will be recorded on our system. So I will click save. So now invoice was added successfully. We can email it, send by post, hand delivered, choose your option how you want to send it out. In my case, it was sent out by post. So if I go to my invoices list, invoice 101 has been created for Gift Limited, quoting a quote, and it is for 1,250, and it's been sent by a post. There is little plain paper folded plain icon. So this is a way how we can issue quotes and convert quotes to a sales invoices on ClearBooks accounting software. Sales of white pearl necklaces are actually going very well. And now Gift Limited have actually asked me to provide on monthly basis a batch of 20 white pearl necklaces, as well as they will start to sell dark green pearl necklaces in their store as well. So I need to set up a recurring sales invoice going forward for Gift Limited. So how I can set up a recurring or repeating sales invoices on ClearBooks accounting software. To set up recurring sales invoice, we need to go to sales section and there is recurring. To set up recurring one invoice, we would click on this create recurring invoice template button, but if we have multiple sales invoices to set up as a recurring, we can click on create bulk invoices. So in my case, I have only one recurring invoice to set up for Gift Limited. So we can add a completely new customer by adding clicking on this icon, or we can select from our drop-down list. Select the date, in my case it's 1st of August. Reference, it will be pearls. Okay. Frequency, that's mean how often this recurring invoice should be created on system. In my case, it needs to be created monthly. And I need to select how this invoice need to be created, either as a draft or as approved. If it will be created as a draft, you will need to review and then post and distribute it out. But if you select it as an approved, then it will be created automatically and approved. In my case, it will be set up as approved. And occurrence, that means how often this need to happen. And I have agreement signed for 6 months. Item, I have 2 items what are under this recurring invoice. So I have white pearl necklaces, 20 of these, and I will add a new line, 20, not 2. And I also have dark green necklaces, what's been requested in a quantity of 10. So every month there would be an invoice created and issued to Gift Limited for 750 for 20 white pearl and 10 dark green pearl necklaces. Okay, if I want, I can add some details in summary. Also, I can change bank details and add any attachments. So I can click on manage attachments and I can upload files. For example, if I need to attach how to look after my jewelry, so there should be cleaning guide. Click on attach and I will upload another file, and that is return form. Click open and attach. Okay, so I have attached support documents to go with this invoice and click save. So now this is a recurring invoice what has been set up. Okay, and status is approved here. At the top we have option to still edit this recurring sales invoice. We can copy and create new recurring invoice. Also I can get a delivery note. So if I click on delivery note, I can print this delivery note and take it with me with goods what I would deliver to Gift Limited. Okay, and then I can of course delete recurring template if I don't want it to happen or take place and create an invoices. So if I click on recurring, there is my recurring invoice. So under manage options, I can edit it, I can get a HTML link, or I can download or print if I wish to. So this is a way how we can set up a recurring sales invoices on QuickBooks accounting software. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, I agree. So how I can issue invoice to this customer for purchasing this beautiful bracelet. Plus, if I need to issue invoices, one-liner invoices, like invoice just for one pair of earrings, for one product, for example, the same 5 necklaces and etc. How I can issue sales invoices in a bulk. Plus, it might also happen that some customers request a credit note. So how I can issue credit note on QuickBooks accounting software as well. And this little bracelet is ready to be sent to this lovely customer. To issue sales invoices from QuickBooks, we need to go to sales section and there is invoices subsection. From here we have 2 choices. Either we can issue invoices one by one so one invoice per customer, or I can also issue invoices in a bulk. So as I have been attending a couple of weekend events, I've been selling to multiple customers single line items, so one item per invoice. And easiest and simplest way for me will be to use create a bulk invoices. So this is a template. So basically one line or one row is per one invoice. So it starts with a date. So I attended in June, on 11th of June, an local event, and I need to select the contact to whom I sold, so to whom I want to issue this invoice. Either I can add completely new customer, so I will need to fill in this contact card, or I can select from my drop-down list and select an customer from my list. So I have added customers from that Saturday's sales already. So I had an invoice to Angela, and invoice would be starting with RK to me, and description was earrings, what I sold to her. So select the contact, add a reference, it was from my little notebook reference, description of what I sold, so for what I want to issue this invoice. Net amount was £25. VAT, there is no VAT in my case involved, because my business is not registered, okay? An account, I have separate income stream for earrings, okay? So this would be first invoice issued to Angela when I click on this blue button called save. So next invoice on 11th need to be issued to Anna, and it was RK 1 2 3 4 3 5, and it was for necklace, and necklace was costing £45, no VAT, and I have separate income stream for necklaces, okay? And this is a way how you can build up issuing or recording even daily sales or cash sales, or even if it's an online sales to multiple customers in a one day. You instead of creating invoice by invoice, we can use like a quick way to issue invoices or record invoices on Clearbooks accounting software. So I will add a couple more invoices what I actually got paid for on that day. So okay, so once I have added all this information line by line, I can click on save. So when I go to invoices, all my invoices, one-liner invoices, have been created here. If I want to distribute out, click on that envelope, and I have an option to distribute by email if I still want to send, or it was hand delivered. So that's the way how we can mark invoices as paid. You can see that invoice for Angela got a little plain. That means that I have actually hand delivered it. Okay, so that's how we can create a bulk invoices. How I can create one by one invoice. Click on create invoice, and here is more options. So if I have itemized invoice that I need to issue, this is a way how I can do. So Lucy have requested on 11 to issue itemized invoice. So on 11th of 6, she had a 7 days time to pay for it, and she purchased from me a set of earrings, necklace and bracelet. So I will create for every single item a separate line. Okay, so once you have filled in details here, either we can save as draft, refresh, or preview. If I click on preview, this is how the invoice will look like once it will be issued to Lucy. Okay, so there is details, there is my bank details, invoice number, when it's due, and what amount is due. Okay, so I can save it, and I can email it out, and I will actually send it by post. Okay, so when I go back to invoices, there is Lucy invoice, and it's been sent by a post. If I want to manage it, I have options to attach attachment, make a copy. I can move, create it to a purchase order. I can edit, email, get an HTML link. I can add a payment, or I can view or download or print if I wish to this supplier invoice. So when Lucy received stock, she actually said that earrings were damaged, so she returned earrings to me. So how I can issue a credit note? So if I click on this invoice, and if I'm looking on details, I can actually see that earrings were £15. Yeah, and I have an option if I can go and do discounts, write-offs, credits from here, or if I go from credit note section, I can actually create a credit note. Okay, so to add a credit note, I need to select a customer to whom I need to issue credit note. I need to select the date, so it was on 11th June. Reference, invoice, I can reference an invoice number. It was 108, I think so. And I can add the description, so earrings for price of 15. And I can add in summary, damaged goods. Okay, and I can click save. So now when I go to invoices, there is my invoice. And when I go to my credit notes, there is my credit note with the information that it's damaged goods. So how I can link this credit note to an invoice? So if I click on this credit note and I scroll to bottom, I have an option actually to allocate 15 to either this invoice or this invoice. And I know that £15 actually relates to the second invoice where I send a whole set. So delete an information from which you don't want to apply and select the one which you want to apply. So in my case, I want to apply to invoice 108 and click apply. So now credit has been applied against invoice. So when I click on credit notes, there is nothing unallocated. And when I go to invoices, I can see that original was £55 and now due is only £40. So this is a way how we can issue sales invoices in a book, as well as how we can issue credit notes and link to a sales invoice. I need to attend an exhibition today and I have looked at my cash, but I'm not sure if cash what I have on hand actually matches with balance on my QuickBooks accounting software. So how I can check the balances? Well, simply I can go and have a look, but it will be a little bit different with my bank account because I haven't uploaded bank statement yet and reconcile transactions. So let's upload bank statement on QuickBooks accounting software and reconcile bank transactions. To reconcile bank account or money account like petty cash account, we need to go to money section. And here, let's go firstly to bank accounts. So I have multiple bank accounts, and for each of these accounts, apart from petty cash of course, I can enable automated bank feeds. In that case, transactions from your bank account will be automatically pulled through to QuickBooks accounting software about, I think so, 4 times per day. So to set up bank feeds, click on set up bank feeds, read the information provided, click on next, consent, agree, and connect to your bank account. Enable that software to pull information through automatically. In this tutorial, I actually will show you how you can upload bank statements manually. So in my case, I want to reconcile my business account. So I will click on import. I will select the file. On right hand side, there is more details available for CSV file importing. Okay, so I will select the bank account, select bank statement, and I will click upload. Now, when I import bank statement very first time, I need to do a mapping. So firstly, make sure what date format you have. If you have US date format, that would mean that you will start with a month followed with date and then followed by year. But in my case, I start with a date followed by month and then by year. So in my case, this date format is correct. Every header option got a drop-down list. In that case, you can select if that column need to be ignored or it is particular on any of or it's related to particular mapping like header available. So first column is date for me. This is an amount. If you have 2 separate columns for amount, there is 2 separate options as well, money in and money out to select from. In my case, I have money in and money out in the same column, so I selected amount. Third column is actually my customers and suppliers and any other information, so I cannot ignore it, so I will select the description. And likewise with the column 4, there is description information as well, like some bill numbers or any other information provided that can be used for recognizing transactions. And column 5th and 6th I will ignore because there is no transactions. So we need to do mapping before we uploading statements. And we need to do this mapping only once. So going forward, system will not ask you to map for this particular bank account. Okay, and click import. So now transactions has been imported and we will need to allocate those transactions on our accounting software. So let's start from the top. So firstly, there is 4 options. Every transaction can be classed as a transaction, as a transfer, as a refund, or as a multiple items. You can choose from. Okay, so and there is available transactions what has been posted on ClearBooks already, so I can allocate if I definitely know that relates to this particular transaction. If I scroll to the bottom, I have 3 pages showing up here. I can take 100 transactions and I will see all my transactions on one page if I wish to. Every of these transactions is actually my uploaded statement. So I need to allocate or find a place for each of these transactions to make sure that my bank account is reconciled. So let's start by one. So firstly, I have cash withdrawal from this bank account. So I have taken £100 out and it is actually transfer, and I will transfer this one from my business account into my petty cash because I took it out. And once I have added this information, click confirm transfer. Okay, let's move on to next one. There is online shop invoice from 25th of June. Okay, and there is, I think, so multiple items to whom we can allocate this one. And in that case, need to look for at the top 880 and from, and this being from online shop as it's showing up here. So I will click online shop and it will filter out all invoices available on for online shop. And this receipt was actually from 25th of June. So I have 3 transactions from 25th of June. So I can actually allocate to this invoice, to allocate from 25th of June to this invoice. And I also can allocate to this invoice. Okay, so 880 will be allocated to following 3. And I have misallocated actually, okay, because 880, so I will actually remove and I will look at transactions and I will select my online shop. Okay, so it is 25th/06, 25th/06, and I have 880. This is relating to this transaction, so I will allocate to this one, I will allocate to this one, and I will allocate to this one. Okay, so now I have 880 allocated to these transactions, and if I'm happy, I need to click on add transactions. Okay, it's gonna happen when you have multiple invoices to the same customers, so just make sure that you're allocating correct amounts to correct invoices. Okay, utilities limited from 27th of June, I can search by utilities limited, and I have 2 invoices, one is June, one is July, so I have £60. I will allocate to this existing. Okay, next one, I have phone from 28th of June. The same, I will select phone so I don't allocate to wrong place. So it's 10th of June and I will allocate to this one. Okay, what is next one? I have £50 for an internet limited and it is on June paid, so it is relating to June's invoice. So I will allocate all these transactions. If I will came across to something different, I will jump in and I will advise to you. Okay, so 350 rent dated 28th of June, and there is invoice from 10th of June, so I will allocate to this one. Okay, for materials limited, I have actually paid 2,000, and in description I can see it only deposit. So there is invoice for 2,275, so I will actually allocate only 2,000 because this is relating to this big invoice of pearl necklaces, and it is correct, and I will allocate to existing invoice. So there will be £275 still outstanding to be paid. Okay, gift. Okay, I have cash deposit of £395, and this been deposited actually from my cash account. So and this actually 395 was deposited from cash. So I need to go to transfers, and this has been actually transferred from my petty cash into my business for £395, and click confirm transfer. Okay, phone. Okay, and okay, if I go to transactions, if I look, all what has been reconciled got green ticks, and transactions which haven't been reconciled yet, they are in red. So materials and supplies, so there is 530 for materials and supplies I can allocate. Also I need to cash deposit to allocate, so it's actually a transfer from petty cash to my business. I will confirm transaction. Okay, and I have also 500 gift limited deposit, and I will allocate it to this invoice. Okay, so now I have all transactions allocated apart from £2,000, and £2,000 is actually deposited by a business owner, and we will cover it as part of our journal. So all transactions, if we go to our bank statements and click on import statement, from 21 transactions, we have 20 transactions explained. And if I go to my bank accounts, I can see that my balance of my business account is 470 at the moment. So how we can allocate the £2,000 which has been paid into bank account as a share capital? So under money bank account, there is one transaction still to explain. So click on explain. And now I will click on transactions, and there's 2,000 to explain. So from drop down list, I will select Rita K, and under supplier information, I have marked that Rita K is a director. Okay, so account, select account as under equity as share capital. You can add a reference number if required. Bill date is automatically read from statement. Payment method was bank transfer. It is, I will say, share capital. No VAT and 2,000. I will click add new transaction. Okay, so when I scroll till top, I can see that 2,000 have been now explained and reconciled. Okay, so when I click on my bank account, there is no more transactions to explain, and my balance matches with actually bank account and balance of 2,470. So bank now is reconciled. If I look at my petty cash, if I click on petty cash, I can see that there is 395 as cash going out and 395 as coming in. But we have also other invoices that haven't been marked as paid yet. And if I'm looking at invoices, unpaid invoices, I can see that there is lots of these customer invoices that haven't been marked as paid, but actually they have paid in a cash. So how I can mark these invoices as a paid on QuickBooks accounting software? So the way how we can do it, we can click on manage and add a payment. So we can click on add a payment. Stuart, he paid £20. Select payment method, cash. Select the date. So for example, it will be 23rd July. And description, I will say daily sales, and I will confirm. Now I have cash of £20, recorded, and I can allocate £20 to this transaction and click allocate. Okay, so when we go to sales invoices and I look at paid, I can see that invoice for Stuart for 20 has been marked as paid, but I would need to mark as paid all other transactions as well, so they all show up in my cash account. So if I look at my the cash, select the date, okay, why it's not showing up? Have I marked it incorrectly? So payment ID, oh, I allocated to bank, that's why. Okay, deallocate, click edit, and it should be petty cash actually. Update payment, click allocate, and I will allocate to £20 invoice. Okay, and click allocate. So now when I go to my cash account, I can see that 20 showing up here. So I will need to do it one by one. So this is the way how we can upload bank statements, reconcile bank, as well as how we can mark customer invoices as paid, especially if they have paid in a cash. Before I look at reports, I actually want to go through a couple more things with you guys. And one of them are how to post journal. So if there will be need, how we can post an adjustment journal or a standard journal on QuickBooks accounting software. Also, how we can record depreciation, not manually posting journal, but how we can use QuickBooks to post journal with a one click. I would say with one click. And how we can send a customer statement to remind or to give a little nudge that, hey, it's me, this is a statement of your outstanding invoices. Not overdue, maybe there will be some overdue, but list of all invoices that haven't been paid yet. So how we can post a journal, how we can record depreciation, and how we can send customer statements. Let's have a look. So how we can post a journal on QuickBooks accounting software if there might be a need to post one. To post a journal, we need to go to Tools section, and there is Journals. So we have option to post a standard journal or set up a journal. So for example, if you use like different payroll software, so not the one which QuickBooks provides, you might decide to set up a recurring journal for your payroll. If you have payroll numbers not changing on a monthly basis, just an idea. Okay, if I click on all journals, we have an option to view recurring journals list and create a standard journal. So I will create a standard journal. I will add the journal information. So I will, in this case, I need to do a revenue adjustment. So I will click on, I will type in details. So I will say revenue correction. I will select the counting date. So in my case, it is 31st July. I can add a contact or project if I'm using them, otherwise leave blank or don't select. Number of journal lines, standard is minimum 2 lines, but you might have a multiple lines. So if you add 3 lines here and update, you will have 3 lines available, but there is one but. Debits should equal credits, so both sides should balance off. So I will leave 3 lines. So firstly, I want to correct my amount for an earrings. So in my case, earrings actually should be more, like revenue for earrings should be more, and by mistake I issued actually invoice to one of the customers, and I allocated necklaces amount to earrings amount to necklaces. So how I can correct this one? So I will add in description, I will say I can copy the same revenue correction, and I can use in the same description all rows, or you can use your description if you want. So I need to increase my earring sales for £150. So I need to credit my revenue side. And the ones which I need to reduce is actually my sales of necklaces. So sales of necklaces, correction, I can quote which was invoice. So for example, invoice 110. And that invoice was for 100, and the same sells necklaces, but there was for invoice 125 as well, and that was for £50. So now you can see that my total debits equals total credits. If I want to include in my VAT return, I can select if it's sale or it is purchase, so you know where it will be included. In my case, I'm not VAT registered business, so these 2 sections doesn't apply to me. But if VAT is in, if VAT will be impacted, make sure that you allocate if this is correction to particular sales sections or purchases. If, for example, you need to correct rent bills or maybe phone bills and etc. So once you are happy with all this information, click on Post Journal. So now if I go back to my journal list, I can see journal has been posted here for revenue correction. I can copy it, I can view it. So if I click on view, I can see who processed, when, and what is the journal entries. I can edit this journal, I can copy, or I can cancel this journal if I don't want it to be posted on a system. Okay, so this is a way how you can post the journals, adjustment journals, or set up recurring journals if you need on ClearBooks. Next one is how I can post a depreciation journal. So I need to go to fixed asset register, and to actually post a depreciation, I need to go to depreciation section. And to post a depreciation, I need to select an asset. So in my case, I will have below, so there is a summary. Below, I have 2 assets. So I have furniture and I have laptop. To post the depreciation, I need to click on these arrows. So that's when it will be posted. Okay, I can still edit, I can delete this asset, or I can archive if it's obsolete maybe. Okay, obsolete I mean not in use anymore. So let's post depreciation for furniture, and I can click on create all or create a journal. Okay, journal has been successfully created for furniture. If I click on depreciation and scroll down to laptop, so I can see the depreciation has been posted because there is a value now. Now I need to post depreciation for laptop. I will click on this arrow and I will click on create journal. Okay, so let's go back to depreciation list. So now depreciation has been posted for my laptop as well. If I click on this laptop, for example, I can see information about my asset. If I click on transaction ID, I can see what journals been posted on a system. So If I go to my journals and click on all journals, my depreciation journal has been posted here as well. As you can see, I can copy, I can view them, and I can edit both of them. Okay, so this is a way how we can post a depreciation for assets. Okay, and now how I can send a statement to customers. So if I can go to contacts and click on customers and select the customer to which I want to send particular statement. So for example, I want to send a statement to Gift Limited. So if I click on this customer, I can look at full statement, and here I can, okay, there is a details, and I can email customer statement out to Gift Limited, or I can download as HTML or as PDF. So if I click on as a PDF, this is a statement. Basically, there is no unpaid invoices. Okay. Okay, if I go and look, for example, on Jane and click on full statement, I can see information below. If I click on download as PDF, this statement shows that Jane owns or haven't paid for 2 invoices. So this statement can be sent out to Jane now, either by emailing directly or downloaded and handed to this customer. So this way how we can issue statements to customers, post depreciation, as well as post journals on system if required. Send. I just sent the last customer statement out, and that means that I can actually review my business. So how well I have actually performed in my last period. And I can do it through report section. So how I made a profit, or maybe I have made a loss. Let's have a look at reports. So last thing what we need to do is look at our reports. So, well, looking at my report. So how well my business actually have done. When we go to report section, we have actually an option to also get a management report. So it would be a summary of most key metrics and details presented in a PDF file. We will look on it at the last point. So let's go through to all reports section. So under all reports, you'll be able to see every report available with a summary description below it. So for example, under age debtors, I can see a list of all customers that owe me a money and when they have owned it. Okay, so let's click on age debtors first. So this is my list of age debtors as of 8th of August, and say actually there's lots of who own me money. I can download this PDF. I can also download the CSV. Okay, if I click on every single of this number, I can actually see which invoice haven't been paid to me, and it's been overdue already 51 days. Crikey, Angela. Okay, need to chase her. Okay, let's look at the reports. What else we have? So we have all reports relating to customers on left hand side, and on right hand side there is details provided. So if I want to see general ledger, if I want to see transactions, if I want to see my asset register or stock overview, or even audit log. So if I want to see asset register, click on asset register. I can see what were the opening balances or costs to my assets, and what are the accumulated depreciation as of 31st of July. And this is my net book value, what would show up on my account. Okay, so if I'm looking, there is my furniture, there is my laptop. Okay, so what else we can look at our reports? So there is all regarding customers, as I mentioned, so income by customer, customer list. Then there is next 2 sections. On left hand side there is suppliers, on right hand side there is financials. So we can look at the balance sheet, cash flow, profit and loss. ratios, trial balance, margin comparison, and on the left hand side we have age creditors, so who I own money. Also, as any other reports you would be interested in, maybe also looking at supplier list. So let's look at age creditors now. At age creditors, I haven't paid 3 suppliers, as I can see. I haven't paid my employee, so basically I haven't paid myself. 70, 85, those are my cash expenses, so for mileage as well as for those office supplies like stationery what I purchased. Then there is materials invoice, which is actually massively overdue. I need to pay so I don't damage relationship with my supplier, by the way. Okay, and then there is local shop invoice as well. So if I click on 275 to materials, I can see this invoice, and I can see that actually 275 is a part of a big bill from 2275. That's for that pearl invoice, massive invoice. I haven't paid it yet, need to pay it. Okay, so before we go back to financials, there is also option to look on back reconciliations and make sure that my accounts are reconciled. So if I click on 8th of August, I can see this bank account current, haven't had any transactions. If I click on business and click on view, I can see that the, okay, let's select 31st of July. Okay, view. Then I can see that there is transactions which has been changed. Okay, let's look at my profit and loss statement. So under financials, there is profit and loss statement. So how I made a profit, I have no idea. Okay, period is 31st, that's my financial year period. Okay, from 1st of June till, yep, okay. And I can also from drop down list look at last month, 2 months, 3 months. I will select that I will look at last 3 months and I will check find. Okay, so I can see June, July, August information. I can collapse, that will show as a summary, or I can expand and I can see by my revenue streams if I wish to. So let's look at collapse at the moment. So total revenue is almost 5k, cost of sales are 3.8k, and I have rent, communications, general, travel and depreciation. I have made a loss of 110. Ugh, okay. Just scraped above the line, right? So comparing month on month, actually I have made a profit in August, which kind of makes sense because at the beginning I would invest more in first months before I start to sell more. Okay, and I can see that I have the most profitable revenue stream is my necklaces, and that's due to that recurring invoices as well for gift limited. But I need to uplift, actually I can see that earrings are a little bit falling behind, so I need to actually make sure that I'm selling more my earrings. Okay, cost of sales, if I'm looking, there is material 700 and cost of sales are 3k. Rent and rates is 700 and heat and lighting is 120. So actually my rent and rates are the most expensive other expenses in a business. Then there is telecommunications, followed with general or admin, which is like printing and stationery and postage and packaging, I can see. So I can actually review numbers month on month, compare month on month, and see how well I actually are doing. I can download this report as PDF as well as CSV. If I want to look at last month, click on last month, click on find, and you will be presented only with last month's information. Okay, so what I can actually get from my management report. So if I click on management report, I can select which reports I actually want to look at. So I will select that I want to see profit and loss, cash flow, balance sheet, debtors, creditors, and executive summary, including graphs. And if I am ready to view it, I can view in a web, I can view it as a PDF, or also I can download. So if I click on PDF view, I can select dates, so I could amend it. And this is my report. Looks nice with my logo. So as of 8th of August, this is my management report. Very posh, very posh. Okay, this is my table of contents. There is executive summary, so about cash flow, so money in, money out. So I have actually closing cash balance of 3.8k. Profitability ratios is there. So actually I have made a loss, 110 pounds, I cannot believe. Okay, balance sheet, so I have assets and I have liabilities. So net assets is almost 3.4k. So assets is combined from my bank as well as my fixed and with my fixed assets. Okay, number of invoices issued is 19, average value of invoice is 251, credit terms is 7 days, and pay time average is about 2 days, not bad. So looking at profit and loss, there is a graphs provided, and it's provided by also revenue by streams, so I can see who is the most making income stream, and it is for necklaces. Cost of sales, I can see breakdowns there. Gross profit is 1000, that's quite exact amount. And there is administration expenses and breakdown by every expense category, and these numbers are up to year to date. Okay, so net profit is 109.95, and there is balance sheet information as well provided to review in a detail, including cash flow. Okay, so aging debtors are list provided here, as well as aging creditors followed after my aged debtors. And that is the end of my management reports. It's actually quite good looking report, I think so, for small businesses if you wish to present information to directors, okay, or even managers. So there is list of popular reports available, so creditors, debtors, balance sheet, margin comparison, profit and loss transactions, and also trial balance. So if you look on transactions, you will see all transactions has been posted in a particular period. Just apply your filters above. Also, if you want to look on an account type, maybe just purely revenue, click on find, and information will be pulled only for revenue here, so you can download as PDF or CSV and use that information for your analysis. So this is under reports. If you click on dashboard, you can actually see a graph, and you can see top 3 like what haven't paid to you, in my case who haven't paid to me. The same is about purchases, who I haven't paid. And there is information about bank accounts available, expenses, as well as some reports on profit and loss, tax, dividends, and of course if you need an accountant, you can use Clearbooks accountant form to fill in. To customize dashboard, you can select which sections you want to see, and once you have selected or deselected those options, so yeah, then click save. Okay, so I just customized my dashboard and it looks so. Okay, so this covers a last section called reports. Of course, you can, there's so many different reports to go through. Just select which one you need for your business purposes to analyze information and to be like a step on front of knowing what you need to change, for example, if in your business, or maybe you need to chase your customers. So yeah, we covered reports. That's it for today's Clearbooks accounting software tutorial. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial, and it will be a good starting guide for you to start using this accounting software by yourself. But if you have any questions or require any further advice, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in next episode.